everybody, it's Pavel Mraz from my associate again. I'm here today to tell you more about two most common methods of measuring HRV. These two methods are called the time domain and spectral analysis of HRV. There are some differences between these two methods, and I'll try to explain how we understand them. First of all, when we are comparing spectral analysis to time domain, we can say that the spectral analysis should be more precise according to time domain, which is more like it is much more easy to proceed. The time domain actually has the key metric is the time there. So when you are measuring HRV with time domain, you always have some time period where you are measuring yourself. For example, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, etc. This time domain method is, from our knowledge, is not that conclusive according to the science. Sometimes it has great results, sometimes it doesn't. It is because you are not measuring the sympathetic part of the autonomic nervous system, and you are focused mostly on the, from this point of view, most important parameter, which is called the RMSSD. The method is not based mostly on a specific methodological protocol, for example, the orthostatic test or something. It is only taken mostly in it's mostly taken in a stable position, for example, laying down or sitting or something like that. So you are not changing positions during the measurement. Actually, that's why the method couldn't differentiate the parasympathetic and the sympathetic activity, which can be, as you were seeing from in the previous video, can be a struggle, for example, for very talented people or for people who are already overtrained a little bit. It is actually a pain for everybody, I can say, but for these two, it's the most important. Actually, the method is not using the population statistics mostly, so you only is comparing yourself to yourself, and these results can like there's not any like population norm or something. The biggest advantage of time domain is that it is easy to proceed, so you need only 1 minute, 3 minutes, or 5 minutes to measure it. On the other hand, spectral analysis of heart rate variability is more conclusive method. You can see a lot of data, you look at a lot of science papers where it's confirmed this method as a valid method, for example, for medical treatments and for medical measurements, etc. Also in my associate, because we are using the spectral analysis of HRV, we are providing our software for many science studies, for example, for oncology studies and sports science studies. The method is therefore based on the strict methodological protocol. This protocol is very important for this method because you need the person to stand up and to lay down and to keep them in these positions for some time to get the relevant data for analysis. This method, through this, can also differentiate the parasympathetic and sympathetic activity. This is very important, as I've mentioned, for actually everybody who is using HRV. Some companies who are using the time domain are trying to tell you something about the sympathetic from the time domain metrics. I would not recommend you to follow this information because from the time domain to recognize the sympathetic activity is kind of adventurous thing. The method, the spectral analysis of HRV, has its population statistics, so that's why you can also compare yourself to your age and gender population average, and you can understand whether you are over average, your recovery, etc. is better than average, or you are worse than average. This some methods or some people are telling you that it's not important. But when it takes when you are working with spectral analysis of heart rate variability, you can see into the graph where you are, and you can also discover your long-term adaptation capacity from the long-term perspective and from the point of view of your age and gender, which is very important because then you can recognize whether you are in some kind of risk of overtraining or if you are, for example, in the state where your body can handle much more training than you actually assume. What is the biggest disadvantage of spectral analysis of heart rate variability? is that it takes at least 15 minutes to measure it. Actually, you can measure it within 12 minutes, but it depends on your heart rate, on your resting heart rate actually. This is actually very important to say, because when you have the time domain, it's the most important metric here is the time period where you are measuring, or yeah, not the most important metric, but you are measuring within one time period, for example 1 minute and 2 minutes. And when it comes to spectral analysis of HRV, you are measuring the precise number of heartbeats, or actually the space between the heartbeats. And you need them, it was when we were measuring 15 minutes, it was like 840 heartbeats, which you needed to analyze to know all the information. I think everybody here can imagine that it was difficult to measure 15 minutes every day. And that is maybe why not too many companies are providing this service, because it is very difficult to tell people that they have to measure 15 minutes a day. But we were doing that. It was our big advantage and also our big adventure, because maybe you know this spectral analysis was very, very difficult to measure, and it was measured actually for 20 years ago, and it was measured with AKG in laboratories or in the doctor's office, and this was the result you could get from the spectral analysis of heart rate variability. You can imagine if we will send you this data to analyze every morning, and if you will spend so much time at your doctor's office or at your doctor's laboratory, I think you will not measure every day for many years. So that's why my SASI was developing an algorithm which was able at least to provide this service at your home with a mobile app and a heart rate monitor. So we had 15 minutes measurement, and we were proceeding these 15 minutes measurements for 3 to 4 years, and we've got 300,000 spectral analysis results, spectral analysis of HRV results. This is a huge amount of results, because, for example, a normal science study has hundreds, maybe 100, 200 results, but we had 300,000 spectral analysis results. And this is our biggest advantage, because we put it into the artificial intelligence analysis, and we developed actually the artificial intelligence, which is providing us a new algorithm, which is keeping the same accuracy as you can get from spectral analysis of HRV, but you can proceed the measurement within 4 minutes. So now we are in 4 minutes measurement, and also when you are standing up and laying down, it feels much more fun and much more fast. And when you are measuring 4 minutes every day, it's actually accessible, and you will have both autonomic nervous system branches, parasympathetic and sympathetic, in the most precise level on the market. And what you need only to measure that, you need to have your Polar or Garmin or my SASI heart belt, or you can use another hardware. You can get on our website information what is needed for as a requirement, and you need to download our app from Apple Store or Google Play. And the procedure, how you're measuring now with my SASI, it used to be 120, 360 and 360 heartbeats. Nowadays it's 22 heartbeats, 55 heartbeats and 110 heartbeats. Together, this information you are sending to the internet via the mobile app, and we are analyzing them. What is very important to understand is that my SASI is a diagnostics. It's diagnostics which is used also in medicine and in science work. So that's why you need to keep the protocol. If you would like to have the most precise information, you need to do the protocol as it is prepared. So you need to make it directly after waking up. You can go to the toilet, but you have to make it standardized. So I will recommend you to go to the toilet every time when you are measuring actually. And it's necessary to make it before first physical activity or before first beverage, coffee or drink or meal. On the other hand, you will have only 187 heartbeats. So in case you have fast heartbeats, you will be done within 3 minutes. If you will not be, if your heartbeat, for example, is 40 beats per minute, you will be ready in 4 minutes, and then you will have the results. So next time we will start to explain you how my SASE results are working, what you can see in my SASE training app, what you can see also in my SASE training web app, and how you can use my SASE to get more successful and more smart training. So follow us, look at that, and if you will have any questions, don't hesitate to ask us via our webpage or via our Facebook page, etc. So take care, thank you, and see you with next video. Bye.